kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
Tell me, boy.
I'm paranoid, I'm paranoid, I'm paranoid, bitch, I'm paranoid, I'm paranoid, I'm paranoid, I'm paranoid, bitch, I'm paranoid.
Testicles 1, 2, testicles. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the show. This is Paranormal Radio Podcast, and I am your humble host, Trebles Garcia. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank the Lord for allowing me to be here today, and I want to thank every single one of you for allowing me to enter your space. Do not forget to drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. This allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. And do not forget to cough up a t-shirt at paranoidradio.com, paranoidradio.com. You can not only stream for free the past 5 audio episodes, but you could also watch the last amazing episode we had with Angel 333, Godpill 333 from Instagram. Make sure you check us out at paranoidradio.com. Guys, we have an amazing episode lined up for you guys with a very special guest, another female speaker. I'm on a fucking roll. Everybody likes this stuff. We picked up at least, I want to say 25% of female speakers in the middle-aged female speakers in the past 4 weeks, a month to a half. So I'm very happy to start guiding and positioning myself on this lane and hopefully start getting recognized by more of a female presence. Please allow me to jump in from the deep end of the pool and set the fucking mood. Her name is Deborah. And she is here to guide and educate and provide us with a safe space to discuss and furthermore explore paranormal experiences. Professionally, she has an MA degree and has been an educator and researcher for 20 years. For the last 8 years, her focus has been guiding individuals through their spiritual journeys. Now she has combined her skill set to bring paranormal paradigma to life. Paranormal Paradigma is an effort to help experiencers through education, empathy, and spiritual guidance. She knows how confusing and frightening and stigmatizing paranormal experiences can be. These experiences can cause us to question everything we believe in and think that we know about this world. Thus, she is here to provide us with a space of safe and have an exploratory vision to our fears, for our fears, and question to help us to find what it all means to us. As an intuitive, she empathizes and aids with spiritual understanding and discerns what is in the shadows. And as a researcher, she stays informed and educates based and verifiable and credible information. As a guide, she offers personalized support for your unique experience. As a fellow experiencer herself, she also knows how it feels to doubt yourself and be doubted by everyone else. She is here to give you a quick tips and superficial strategies. I'm sorry, she is not here to give you quick tips and superficial strategies. Instead, she offers you personalized guidance, support through one of her life's most challenging, unexplained phenomena, the paranormal. In her time off, she's a mom and a wife. She also continues to learn more about everything related to paranormal and spiritual, and she reads tarot for herself and others. Please make sure you check her out at www.paranormalparadigma.com. Welcome, Deborah Roque. How you doing?
I am great. Thank you.
I usually don't fuck up the intro that bad, but because you wrote it and I was like, it doesn't feel like me, but I mean, we got it out.
Yeah, no, I got it. No, don't worry about it. I know. I'm sorry if it was like ridiculous. So
No, I mean, look, if anything, it's my fault. I should have told you. I should have rewritten it. I want to thank you for being here today. I want to thank you for your time and donating your not only knowledge, but time to our listeners, which is the most important part of the show. And I want the people to know where they can find you and on your socials. And then what is it that you do?
All right. So as far as my socials, I'm pretty much on, well, I was gonna say all of them, but I'm not. All right. So I'm on TikTok, I'm on Threads, and I'm on Instagram at paranormalparadigma.com. I mean, what the hell? I'm at Instagram, Threads, and TikTok as Paranormal Paradigma is my handle. And then Facebook, it's just my name, Deborah Roque. And there's a group also, like a Facebook group, Paranormal Paradigma, that you can join. And that's really it. Other than that, you can find me through my website, which is www.paranormalparadigma.com, and my email, which is there's a contact form there if anything, and you can contact me directly through there. So that's where I do most of my.
What are you offering on that paranormalparadigma.com?
So what I offer is basically personalized support and guidance for anybody who has paranormal experiences, specifically, this is not exactly for, more seasoned experiencer or people who seek out the paranormal and understand the role that the paranormal is playing in their lives, whether they've been psychics or intuitives or sensitives for a long time. This is not for that type of audience. This is more for the audience that either never believed in the paranormal before or has a very strong religious, belief system, and then experiences something, and then all of a sudden, they are questioning their belief system. This is for like the atheists or like the really staunch scientists that like all of a sudden get these experiences that are paranormal in nature and have all these questions. Then you guys can come to me and I can help sort of guide you through the process that comes with experiencing something unknown and unfamiliar and kind of frightening. Because a lot of times what happens is, we'll have a paranormal experience, especially somebody who doesn't believe in the paranormal or is very religious and is not familiar with this world. What happens is you start to ask a lot of questions, you doubt yourself, you doubt reality. Then, other things can happen and you kind of feel lost, and maybe you're afraid of ruining your reputation, not understanding who you are anymore, and all that. There's not a lot of help out there for people who are going through these like processes. And
Societal,
so
I hear you loud and clear. I think societal structures also trying to keep us into a box. There's more than meets the eye out there, and I also think that life is a lot more interesting than what it's intended to be told and accepted by the most of us. Just like religion keeps you in a premise. I'm not a very religious guy. I'm a very spiritual guy. If anything, I believe that we are divinely created, and I'm in His image. And my creativity and my creation powers and my manifestation powers is those got us connected and got other people, like a domino effect. That everything, there's only cause and effect. And I think energy has a lot to play. And when they keep you controlled under the energy of fear, under that low frequency, stability, when your brain is only at defense, not going in aggression, not acting with your instincts. I think it's that when you fall back on being scared and being defense, and then being sick mentally, and then followed by the rest of your organs being sick as well. So let's set the mood. You have some experiences that I wanted you to share. So I got 3 questions for you. We're going to start with this quick one. So personally, do you have a testimony with any interactions, perhaps the most valuable and extraordinary experience that you've had? I want to start with that so you can set the mood.
Oh my goodness. I've had a lot of paranormal experiences and a few very big ones. And I think it's really hard to determine because they happen at different parts of my life. And I feel like each one had a significance at that time. I would say that the one that has been most significant for me in terms of what I do now is definitely had to do with my father passing away. And so my father was an atheist and he didn't believe in anything. But I grew up in a household like Latina. Like, of course, we believed in, like, my mom believed in God. She was like a Roman Catholic. Like, she even in the Cuban tradition, I mean, in the culture, sorry, we have Santeria, which is sort of like, witchcraft, So we had that. I grew up with that stuff, but then I became atheist myself. And so even though I had paranormal experiences happen to me, I would usually attribute it to some sort of scientific or psychological manifestation of something. You understand? Like, I never really was like, oh yeah, this is like a ghost, or it could be a demon, or it could be this, or it could be... I never thought like that until my dad passed away. And this is very important because my father passed away June 14th, 2015.
Yeah.
And then that specific weekend was the weekend before Father's Day weekend. And I had planned a trip to Disney World with my sister. So we were in Disney, just like having fun. And we were also, that was the same opening, that was opening weekend of Jurassic World. So all this kind of comes into play in my life because of the
just recently too.
What do you mean?
Just recently. This happened recently, right?
No, this was back in 2015. It was like the first Jurassic World movie that came out, like back in the day. So the reason that this is all significant for me is because Disney and Jurassic Park, like the franchise, we have a very personal connection with because of my father, right? So my father just he would take us to Disney when we were younger, and he was big on like these action kind of movies and stuff like that. So it was like a big deal because that same weekend we had spoken to my father Friday. I had spoken to my father Friday. And then the next day I wake up in the middle of the night, like around midnight, and I'm very concerned for him. Like I'm like extremely worried, like anxious, like something's gonna happen. And that had never happened to me before. Never. So I was like, okay, well, this is just, again, some sort of worry or psychological, psychosomatic, I don't know, anything. I just was like, whatever, this is not real.
But it really was your sixth sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, this isn't real, like whatever. I'm gonna go back to sleep. I'll call him tomorrow and just check in on him. Well, what happened was that at 2:36 in the morning, I got a call, and it was a police officer informing me my father was gone. Like they had found him in the bathroom of where he lived. And so I think from there on, I was very like, it was very shocking to me because I couldn't understand how was it that I knew that something was going to happen to my father, or that something was wrong with my father, and why I didn't do anything about it. When I think back to it, I'm like, damn, had I been a believer at that time, I could have called my dad. I could have done anything, to like maybe help out and see if he was okay or whatnot. I mean, I know it was just the night, but like it was just like one of the things that I was just like, what is going on? And then from there, that sort of was like a catalyst to a bunch of things that started happening. And I was just like, what is going on? Like, I don't understand. And I think the cherry on the top for me was my friend who I now work with. She was sort of going through her own changes, and she had like very, very strong medium abilities.
Ouch.
And again, I was one of these people that I was just like, yeah, sure, mediums and psychics, cool, I guess. And then she was like, your dad keeps coming through. And I was like, well, what do you mean my dad's coming through? She's like, he has a message. I need to speak to you. Like, this is what's happening. And I'm like, okay, cool. So she starts telling me things, and things that she shouldn't have known. and I was like, okay,
look at that.
Kind of cool. Yeah. Like I was like, okay, this is convincing. But I think that, like I said, the cherry on the top for me was, she goes, what does the number 236 mean to you? I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, 236, 236, 236. Like he keeps flashing that number to me. And I was like, huh. That's the time that I got the call. That's the time that I got the call to tell me
out, dude. Oh my God.
And that's when I was like, okay. And I think it was at that point, plus like some other stuff that had happened, that I was just like, I'm going to explore this, because my science rational brain has been broken right now. Like I was just like, it was completely shattered.
Yeah.
I said, I'm gonna go this way for a bit. And I did. And I think when I started that, I got the message from my dad. I got a very specific message from my father when I started learning how to connect to loved ones and spirit entities and pass down loved ones on the other side. I got a message, and it's like, he said, don't be like me.
He'd be like, ponte las pilas.
Ponte las pilas, que aquí algo existe. And I was like, okay, fine. And so I think that's what he was trying to tell me. Like, don't make the same mistake that I did, which was become an atheist, don't believe in anything. You understand? Be like this stubborn, like materialist person that like nothing else exists but this objective truth in this objective world. He's like, don't do that. And I was like, okay. So right now I'm sort of in a middle ground, like that's how I approach the paranormal. Is I kind of say like it's a more of a critical approach, because I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, everything you experience, is true, like everything all the time. No, like we have to also understand how our energy plays a role in our experiences too. And I think that's something that I try to definitely hone in on when I work with my clients. Like, what is really going on? Is it an entity, which it could be, but is it also something that you're manifesting or you're attracting? You understand? And that's something that I do.
Before we jump into the part of manifesting, because this is gonna fucking blow your fucking face off. Check this out. Okay. Excuse my language. Yo, now that you shared, I'm sorry about your father. I'm sorry that
No,
you're
don't
going
worry.
through
It's
this,
okay.
you
Thank
know,
you.
and I prayers out to him, and I'm hoping that God puts him in his grace. Check this out. So my real mother, I'm adopted. I was adopted at 12 years old by a Mexican family. My real parents are from
Mhm,
Guatemala. Now,
mhm.
my real mother was thrown in a trash can by her mother. The
Oh
person
my
that picked
gosh.
her up was my mother's grandmother, my great grandmother. Picked her up, took her home, and raised her as her own. She was a witch. She would do so much black magic. She would transform in the middle of the night into a hog and kill the men she would sleep with in the town, in the village. This is
Mhm.
some hardcore shit. When
Yeah.
she, my mother picked up on that. They used to sleep on hammocks, you know, back in countries of our
Yeah.
parents, they sleep on hammocks and shit, which is fucking comfortable. I don't know how the fuck we don't sleep on hammocks here. Um, they had she would have long black silky hair, and my mom used to tell me that when she would go to sleep, she would get her hair and put her like on the
Mhm,
side of the hammock, and when she would
mhm.
wake up in the morning, her hair would be all trenzado, all done in braids, and my
Oh,
mom went crazy for a while. Now check this out. Why am I telling you this quick story? Because you
mhm.
mentioned sometimes it could be an entity, or
Yeah.
sometimes it could be something you're manifesting. We just got off the mic and research on imaginary friends. And imaginary
Mhm.
friends by kids are done by under 7 years old are usually done because they're trying to cope with social structures, with traumatic events, and so forth and so forth. And we have also mentioned how sometimes kids, you have to be very careful how kids react and speak about these things, because they sometimes say, "Oh, hey, mom, can my best friend come to work to eat with us? Oh, come and eat, come and get your supper. Oh yeah, can he come? And who's he? Oh, it's my imaginary friend." But the person that you're in your imaginary friend of your kid, the person that you're inviting in, is not an imaginary friend. It's an influential and impactful entity that you're inviting inside your home. And at this point, it becomes very, very paranormal. So that you could go that route, but it's awesome how we connected on that point, because manifestation is super big. And if you could guide your creativity, if you could guide your imagination, and if you could guide your creation powers, especially
Mhm.
as a kid that you don't know good from wrong, that
Yeah.
you're untainted, that you are basically free, and that you are in God's grace at all times. And if you get to be influenced like that, you have to be very fucking careful. And now as human beings, as an adult, as mature people, we start thinking like, wow, what have we done to our kids, et cetera, et cetera. But beyond that, now we're going to get into the technical part about this story, because you're here to tell us a little bit about the critical view of the paranormal and universal laws. I just saw one of your posts on paranormal paradigma on Instagram. Make sure you check her out, ladies and gentlemen. Paranormal paradigma. She drops amazing little snippets and videos where she's translating what these laws are, and that's the one that really caught me the most, from the most recent one. Tell us a little bit about the universal laws and what is the critical view of the paranormal.
Well, I mean, this is obviously my own theory. I really haven't found a lot of people that are doing what I'm doing, or anybody for that matter. And so it's
Yeah.
really hard to get like a baseline off of this stuff because, other than, maybe some occult or esoteric knowledge and things like that. And I try to also use, scientific knowledge too. But at the end of the day, what I have noticed from not only my research, but like from my own experiences and the experiences of others, is that at the end of the day, this is all tied to our belief system. And our belief system is actually tied to our thoughts and our emotions, which is
Bam.
energy,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like I was like, all right, guys, like this is all energy in play, in motion. You understand? And if anything that's energetic, it's going to abide by the universal laws, the law of
Mm-hmm.
correspondence, the law of vibration, the law of attraction, and the others. But those for me are really the big three. With the law of vibration, everything has a vibration, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's either low or high, it doesn't matter in between. Everything has a vibration. Law of correspondence, what you have within is what reflects out. You understand? As above,
Mm-hmm.
so below. And
Mm-hmm.
then the law of attraction is what you're going to attract, the vibration, the frequency, the wavelength that you're on. And so
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't, for me, since everything is energy, paranormal or physical, it doesn't matter. It's going to apply the same. So when we have these paranormal experiences, we have to really start thinking about our own energy. And in
Mm-hmm.
order to understand our energy, we have to understand how we think, what we're feeling, and what we believe. And so I really try to break it down to that so that people understand where these experiences are coming from or why they're having these experiences and how to either stop the experiences from happening, because I've helped people that just don't want to deal with it, or like transform the experience from something that's scary, frightening, confusing to something that's a little bit more positive and can actually improve the you understand? And so that's what I try to do, because it's all within you. There is nothing, there's no other external factor. Even in the scientific research, which I don't know why I quoted that, but whatever. Even in the scientific
No, it's because
research,
it's always going to be there.
yeah,
It's always going to be a part of it. Yeah.
yeah. But in the science, it says it. Like, people who have paranormal experiences are believers. Like, tend to be believers, and if not, they become believers. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And it's like they are there's an attraction there, and then people who have paranormal experiences also tend to have some sort of anxiety, distress, depression, or going through a lot, like, very stressful moments. And I'm like, well, obviously that makes sense because of your energy. What are you attracting? What are you manifesting? You understand? And then this is what I try to have people understand so that they can have a better control of the experiences that they're having and protect themselves and feel safe and feel sane. So that's
do you think intent has anything to do with it? For example, you have the belief system, right? You have a belief system, and then let's say that you're also chemically unbalanced because someone prescribed you with antidepressants and anti-anxiety, which are two combinations of a cocktail of fuckery and witchcraft that you're injecting yourself with. This is just my personal conspiratorial brain going off here. All right. Okay. You inject yourself with this fucking baby back bullshit stuff that you start getting chemically unbalanced. And then you start thinking, then your hormones start going off. And then you inject yourself with a fucking thing in your arm so you don't have any fucking babies, right? Now you're all fucked up. Now you're all fucked up in the inside. Now your intent, you don't even know what the fuck you want. You don't even love your own daughters anymore. Now you don't know what the fuck you're gonna do with your husband. It's you're going through a traumatic event, and then boom, you get hit with a paranormal. You get paranormally activated, like I like to say.
Yeah.
Does intent influence that paranormal activity in your life?
I think intention influences everything in our life. Like, whatever intention that you have to do anything in your life, or even subconsciously, it's going to influence everything. Because if you really break down reality, and this is science, like, if you break down reality, even the neuroscientists say reality is whatever you make it to be. Like, bam! Even like the neuroscientists are like,
get the fuck out. Get out.
Dude, this is what reality is. Like, look, this is
the trailer right here.
Yeah. And this is what reality is. And also they say the brain cannot tell between physical things and imaginary things.
Yeah.
So hello, like, we are literally creating our reality. We are literally creating our environment. And you think intention doesn't have anything to do with that? Of course it does. And that intention comes with our thoughts and our beliefs, because they are the fundamental basis of who we are. So this is where I try to be like, yeah, your intention is going to set the tone for the things that come into your life. And if you have bad intentions or like unscrupulous, like kind of like questionable, well, that's karma. Do you understand? Like, that is karma.
This is how the elites, and I'm not trying to make this into a political view or a political conversation, but Latinos for Trump 2024. This is how a lot of the elites put out shit in the music and shit in vibrational frequencies and messages and reverse messages and using different linguistic patterns and behaviors on the movies, and a lot of their agenda is to tell you what they're doing behind closed doors. So karmic retribution, you don't only accept it, but then you start asking to be enslaved in many different areas, mentally, emotionally, chemically, physically, everythingly, right? And then you have this thing where you start pumping yourself with the negative foods that they want you to eat, the negative, the promotional values of fucking the music you want to listen to, the culture you want to be part of, the people that you want to follow. Shit, even churches only fucking preach so they benefit out of their pocket, because at the end of the day they're gonna ask you for a handout and a 15% of your check monthly. Tell me I'm wrong. I'm not wrong here, bro. This is why religion is the same thing as what they're doing as the occult and the elites are doing to us on a daily basis. I'm not bashing on people that want to believe on anything and want to be religious. By all means, God doesn't want you to be religious. He wants you to be intimate with him. That's the most important part of it. But like, this is not even about religion or stuff. What you said is huge. because a lot of people miss. First of all, let me ask you a question out of the realm, because I heard you say your name, your last name, and I'm fucking dying to ask you this. Roll your R's, bro. Can you roll your R's?
Roque.
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 Yeah,
Roque.
because she was like, my name is Roque. I was like, no,
Well,
it
you
isn't.
know, I mean, and you get used to it. Like you just get used to it. Like at some point, you talk to enough. I've been out of Miami for a while now, so it's just like.
I live in the heart of LA, so you know, sometimes I get you. I get you. All right. So next question. I have something here for really put the cherry on top of this conversation real quick. Spiritual and paranormal experiences, what are they to you? Intuition, senses, and beliefs. So this is kind of like what you went in through, right? Explain to me how one can have a negative reaction, a negative, influential, impactful. Because if you haven't asked me, but let's flow with that.
Okay.
I believe that a lot of these spiritual entities that are being manifested, that are being impactful in your life, influential, a lot of these negative, not even negative, spiritual, and I'm using quotations here, are not the dead. I think the dead are using their lost souls as a vessel. The demons are using their souls as a vessel to communicate with you and influence you in a physical realm, in this physical world, in this three-dimensional world that we live in, to impact others in a negative, influential pattern so that other souls are lost in your vessel. So this is what I believe in. So when I see things, for example, the elf thing, back then when I was 22 and I saw that, I was like, whoa, that was fucking cool. Damn, this, oh yeah. You know, that's what I obviously thought, that it was fucking amazing. Now I'm thinking, how did my life change because of that? And who have I told about this? Who have I influenced on to search these things? And where are they now? And where am I? So it's kind of like, I'm not afraid of it, but I'm very respectful when it comes to that realm. And I don't like to fuck around with it. So, you know, I want you to share some light.
Yeah, look, the paranormal, just like anything, or spiritual, just like anything in this earth, is going to have high frequencies and low frequencies, low vibrations, high vibrations, and what we typically deem bad or good, right? Because in reality, if you go back to the universal laws, there's a law that says everything's neutral. Like there is nothing that's inherently bad or inherently good. It's all neutral, and then we are the ones who make the judgment as to, you know, bad or not. And so what really exists is, you know, a spectrum of vibration, a wavelength, you know, and then where are you on that spectrum? Are you high vibrating? Are you low vibrating? Most sometimes we're kind of, you know, somewhere in the middle. We're not like, I'm not like the highest vibrating human. You understand? I definitely have my stuff, but because we're human. So the same thing is going to happen in the paranormal. There's going to be entities, beings that are going to kind of be in the spectrum. They're not all great and all lights and love, and they're not all the devil and the demons. It's not like that. Your elf situation, sort of one of these things where kind of falls in between. You understand? The elves and our elementals, in terms of spirituality, that they're called elementals. They're earth beings or earthly beings, and they are not necessarily bad, but they're not necessarily good as for what we deem them to be.
That's where your intent comes into play, right?
Right, intention comes into play, and then not only that, like just like what are they there for? That they have their own MO, like they have their own stuff that they're doing. Now, how do we see them? It's going to depend on our beliefs. It's going to depend on, you know, what's going on in our life at the moment, and what we choose to believe to be true about whatever that is. And then for me, so for instance, if I ever see an elf, right, or some sort of fairy or other elemental, I'm gonna freak out because I've obviously never seen one. Like I'm gonna be, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then after that, I'm gonna be like, okay, well, was I in danger? Is my life in danger? Well, no. Okay, so what was it doing? Well, I don't know. And honestly, like, I don't know if I really want to know. Like, maybe it's just doing its thing. Like, why do I want to like bother it? But as far as the belief system around it, it's known that these creatures are actually playful or tricky. You understand? So it just really just depends on like who it crosses, you know, who it's attracted to, like what's the energy of, and so the intention, the beliefs, like all that, it's a lot. I think it's a lot of more complex than what we tend to think. But it's really interesting that you
in the scientific community, there's a thing called placebo and nocebo effect. I'm 100% you know about this. So, and this is just my personal testimony. When I went through, I've had COVID 4 times. and the flu 4 times. I don't know. I know if I'm stepping on anybody's toes, I was born to step on people's toes. I'm sorry. This is why I do what I do. I didn't think of it as a dangerous thing that was going to kill me. I didn't. I went through it, and I was like, my family, my daughters went through it, and we were like, hey, we're gonna get some vitamin D. Let's keep doing what we're doing. Let's go play. Let's go do this. Let's stay activated. Keep talking to each other. And we went through it. And your brain doesn't know, like you just said, I'm quoting you here, when you're fucking around, when you're not fucking around. Well, you said a lot more professional than I did. But when your brain doesn't know when you're lying. So I've always said this on the show. Speak positive about yourself every single time you speak about yourself. For example, you're playing with your friends. I'm a dumbass. No, you just became a little bit more dull at that moment. Yeah, you are a dumbass because now you're talking. Your brain doesn't know how to configure that shit into like a joke. There's no joke pattern for them, for your brain. Your brain is a very physical thing, and it does a lot of, it pushes out all these chemicals depending on your situation, because it needs to evolve, it needs to survive. And you keep talking negative about you. I'm gonna get sick. Oh man. Oh my God, my mom's gonna die. Oh my God, you already fucking buried them. You already buried yourself. Your organs start shutting down. Your immune system starts attacking itself, etc., etc. Every single time you speak about yourself, you have to speak to yourself in glory. You have to manifest that. You have to vibrate that shit out of your mouth. That's what you got to do. This is what we're good for. Intent. Every single time. When I see shadows, this is funny. That I'm gonna tell you this. I go through sometimes a very high frequency week where I'm like, whoa, I landed this fucking thing. Yeah. Oh shit, we got new followers. Yo, I went viral, etc., etc., etc. Something bad happens like that, and I'm sharing that with one of my friends or colleagues or coworkers. Something happens where I see a shadow pass my peripherals, and I catch it, and I look, and I ignore it. And I verbalize it. I'm like, yo, I just seen some stupid shit right now. He's like, what do you mean? Like, I saw a girl. It's like, shut up, dude. Yeah, whatever. And we play it off. Yeah. That same day, I get into a massive fight with my wife, or I get a massive fight with my best friend, or something bad happens after. It's like if something there. This is what I was going to ask you. What do you say about that? Like, there's something, you live a very positive life you want to see, and you speak very positively, but there's something always trying to get at you. You're like, if I'm being hunted by something, and like, that's how I feel almost. Not as a victim, but I mean, I feel like shit, What do you think about that?
Yeah. I think it's normal. I think that's just the law of the life. Like, you can't expect to live this life and be 100% always vibrating high and not have something come to try to balance you out. Because at the end of the day, what this universe is trying to seek is balance. So if you're too high, something's going to come and be like, drop you down so you can come more into a balance, because we're not angels. We're not, high entities. We're humans. You understand? We are flesh, and we are tied to this earth plane. Yeah. So in order to live this life, and have a fulfilled life, what we're trying to seek here is a balance. And whatever that looks like is going to look like differently for everybody, right? Because we're all individual. Yeah. But if you're like on your high game, yeah, you better damn well expect that something low is going to come to like pull you back down, because you have something else to learn. You have something else, like an obstacle. Like, you expect to grow and to learn more about yourself or about this life if you don't have something countering it, or some sort of obstacle could come. So that's why that's going to happen. It's going to tell you a little bit more about yourself and your energy, so that then you can, fix it, or, keep replaying it until you don't fix it. And that's when they say you go into another life or whatnot. But like, what I'm saying is, the whole point is that either you're high vibing and everything's going great, expect something to happen, but what's going to matter is how you navigate it. You understand? Like, what do you get out of that? How do you navigate that obstacle, and what do you learn from it and grow from there? And that's why these things happen. So it's not like you're bad, and it's not like, oh my God, I need I'm a bad person, or I was thinking negatively. Not necessarily. Sometimes these things just come, and it's like a test. You understand? Like, oh, you think you're good? You think you've healed? You think you've this?
Look at that. Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. And so that's
based off trauma again, right? Based off trauma.
It could definitely be traumatic. Yeah. So that's what I feel. And that's why when bad things happen to me and I'm on my game or whatever, I'm like, all right, okay, what's happening now? What do I gotta do? Let me reset. I gotta So it's just, it's like, it's normal. And doesn't necessarily mean that you have like a negative energy attachment. It could be if other things or if there are other factors, but like something like that, I'd probably be like, oh, all right, I gotta pay attention. Like, what's happening here? Why did this happen? You know, and
Still
just go.
stay on your toes, don't get comfortable type of shit. Yeah, I hear you.
Exactly. You can't, because as soon as you do, something comes and pulls the rug from under you.
I hear you. I hear you. You know, it's very interesting because a lot of the impactful, I keep saying impactful because it is. A lot of the times that people want to put paranormal activity on the screen, on a story, on a testimony, they always come back like, oh yeah, they threw the freaking pans at me, the doll moved, and you know, they want to, oh yeah, like it was, I seen a shadowy figure creeping on my ear and I couldn't breathe. And they always tend to lean to the dark, and it's because it sells. It sells.
Exactly.
That's yeah, you know, it's influenced by marketing and it's influenced by social structures. Again, but it's not always like that. Please help us on your final statements on this amazing episode. What are your final thoughts? How should we see this? Even if it is a negative, give us a quick light schooling on, for one person out there that has probably seen a negative entity and they've had an out-of-body experience or sleep paralysis, for example.
Well, I think it's gonna really I can't give like a specific answer because different experiences are going to mean different things or are going to affect people in different ways, right? So I think when in terms of the paranormal in general, one of the things that I always tell people is that you have to understand that it's subjective. Like no matter what happens, like whether it's a sleep paralysis episode, it's an out-of-body experience, it's a near-death experience, it's a cryptid activity, it's an alien abduction, it doesn't matter. It's going to be mostly a subjective experience first. Not that there aren't objective factors to this where you know, obviously you get something gets thrown at you or you have like, you know, cuts and bruises and things. Not that that doesn't happen. Of course it does, right? Yes. But that is always going to be a secondary attribute to what is primarily a subjective experience. And so that's what I try to tell people first is like the paranormal, however you see it, cut it, you know, you organize it and fold it, it's going to be first subjective. Because you can be in the same room with a bunch of people and all of you have like see an entity, but all of you are going to experience it differently. It's going to have a different impact on each one of you. And so that's what we focus on first. And then whatever comes afterwards is like the activity itself. And okay, well, what was that? What could have been? And sometimes if you're in a room and you all see something, well, did you guys manifest that yourselves? Do you understand? Because you wanted so bad to see something. Did you guys just bring that up there? And so these are questions that I try to like, you know, get people to think about because we don't necessarily understand what the paranormal is. The most we can say is that it's energy, you understand? And so what is influencing this energy? And I think there's also research that talks about poltergeist activity and people themselves being the energetic like fountain, like the source of these activities. And so I'm just, hey guys, we got to think about this like a little bit more critically, which is what I'm saying. And so what do I want people to know? I want you to know that sometimes, all the time, 100% of the time, paranormal is subjective, and that sometimes it's our own energies that is affecting this, and that there are ways to like protect yourself and like either transmute that energy for more positive experiences and develop gifts, or just, you know, not deal with it.
How to channel your thoughts and your energy and your emotions and your intentions and be one with yourself instead of looking out. I have this saying, instead of going looking up and as above, so below, I think it's so as above, so within. And that's very important because you got to learn who you are, be able to, you know, be comfortable in your own skin and standing on your own 2 feet, and remember to fucking stay in the present. And the only thing that you can really control is yourself. Now, there is also, you mentioned something about a group of people manifesting. I read this book when I was in high school. It was called by Sylvia Brown. It's called Secret Societies. And in one of the chapters, she goes into the jungle, and it's very misty. And she grounds herself with a group of other mediums and very strongly psychiatric people that have like gifts like telekinesis, etc., etc. So she goes with a group of people that have the same type of energy and power, and then they sit they kumbaya, they sing, they start like trying to manifest, and they manifest according to her. They manifest in the mist, in the middle of a freaking jungle. They manifest a real Bigfoot. Damn. So the idea of you saying right now, a group of people can manifest something there. For example, these fucking TV shows, ghost hunters. Yeah. Okay. Let's hypothetically say that it's real. but it's probably not in that box. It's not in that house. You guys are walking with those spirits within you. And when you guys join forces, set up cameras and start pouring all that energy in that house or in that room and focusing in that area, and then you start speaking it, you start saying it. Yo, I think we're gonna have some movement here. We're gonna have some movement here. Let's put some cameras here. You guys are already dropping like the seeds of energy everywhere. And I could really visualize this where they start manifesting these activities, these white radio sounds and these voices talking to you, asking for help, and the girl voice, etc., etc. So it might be damn true what you're saying. Like people manifest their own reality. Wow. Great stuff.
We do. And I mean, it's not to take away, and I hope people don't misunderstand. Like, I'm not saying that entities don't exist, like they do, but you also have to just take into account your own energy, and if you're really attracting an entity to you, or you're manifesting something else, and that's all possible. It's all within the spectrum, you understand, of this paranormal. It's all possible. And so it's just trying to figure out which one it is, and then working with your energy and trying to live with it, integrate it, figure it out, develop a gift, whatever it is. But
don't be afraid of it, right? Basically, the more you did, like, if you give in.
Yeah, obviously be careful. Be careful. And I think this is just like, sound advice for anything in life. Like, just be careful. Don't mess around with what you don't understand. Like, don't mock it. Don't try to like pretend like you're like the awesome person. No, like, be careful. Do your research, live off your experience. I mean, get off, not, my God, what is this? Take from your experience. Just be careful, tread carefully. And then, obviously practice makes, not perfect, but what is it? Practice makes, I don't remember that.
Practice makes perfect. It makes perfect.
But yeah, but like, there is going to be a point where you're going to feel more comfortable in your energy. You're going to be more confident in yourself. You're going to be more like, I guess, awakened or whatnot, and you can do these things more often. But at first, like, always be careful. But the fear factor is what keeps us limited. The fear factor is what keeps us in a box. The fear factor is what keeps us contained. And so we have to sort of try to break that and be a little bit more curious, and explore. That's just my thing. Like, explore and try to make meaning of these things, because ultimately, like, it's our reality and this is what we make of it. So make something good out of it.
I have the best advice in the world here. Check this out. If you're going through any traumatic experience, or you want to know what this paranormal activation is all about, and you want to get to the bottom of the entire barrel, you need to hit up ParanormalParadigma.com and let her guide you. Deborah, Roque. Let them know where they can find you one more time.
All right, you guys can find me on Instagram at Paranormal Paradigma, TikTok at Paranormal Paradigma, and then Facebook is Deborah Roque, or my Facebook page, Paranormal Paradigma, and then also Threads, but I'm not really on too much, but you can check me out there. And then my website, www.paranormalparadigma.com.
Yes. Thank you so much, Paranormal Deborah. You came, you conquered, and you built it back up. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for letting us know what your truth is, and guiding us through this paranormal activity stuff that we might be going through. For all the listeners, make sure you check her out at Paranormal Paradigma, and check us out also at paranoidradio.com, and hit us up. Drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. This allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. Deborah, thank you so much. Have a blessed day.